but the vertebral body are going to be narrower. But for now, we just want to block in here the cervical spine like this, and we could add here now the bones here, not the turbinates, but this bone here is where the septum goes, right? The cartilage goes. So we divide this with this flat blade of bone. We're gonna see the names later. I don't want to get now into the names of all these parts in here. Well, let's draw it first, and then with the next video we're gonna go over it, discussing a little bit of nomenclature, right? So now here, I'm not gonna block the turbinates, right? And then for now we can leave it like this, right? With the next video, we're going to refine this a little bit more and make it gradually more and more realistic. Okay, so let's keep working on this a little bit, right? So I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, and then we are going to make it a little bit at a time more organic, right? Now it's still semi-schematic, as I say. In here, in this visualization, we privilege the measurement, the proportions, the identification of the various parts that make up the skull, right? And now we take off some of those lines that helped us to measure, right? Position the orbit, position the brow ridge, position the nose, and then we're going to make it a little bit more realistic, right? So so now starting from the let's see, we can start from here, right? From this part in here, right? The side of the cranium here. We're gonna make it. So let's see if we can distinguish them, right? So this is the temporal bone, right? And this is the parietal bone. This is the frontal bone. We are not going to see much of these little sutures. See this connection here? We're not going to see much of these. So we're not going to worry about that, right, much. But remember, temporal bone, parietal bone, right? And frontal bone, right? So, and of course, this is the occipital bone. So now let's see if we can make it a little bit more less schematic, right? So this, remember, is the temporal ridge, right? This curve here is the temporal ridge. And then we have here the widest point. And this goes way behind the this part of the zygomatic bone, right? The side of the orbit here. So this part in here is part of the frontal bone. This part in here see, there's a suture here, there's a connection in here, right? So this is part of the frontal bone, come down like this, right? Here. And that is the zygomatic bone, right? Zygomatic bone, there should be another suture here. So this is the zygomatic bone, like this, right? Like that. And this is the arch, zygomatic arch. So I have this. This is an important distinction because there's a change of angle here, right? So this is the frontal bone down like this, right? From the temporal ridge down like this, right? And when I have the change of angle from this to this, right? From this to this, that's the passage from the frontal bone to the zygomatic bone, right? And here now we have the zygomatic arch like this, right? Try to copy this a little bit, right? Without making too many unnecessary bumps like this. So we are seeing that here is the ramus of the mandible, right? So ramus The mandible is, we've seen before, it comes slightly in at an angle like this, right? But it's not starting from the profile of the face. Comes in here. I have the masseter, and I want to try to block in some of this bump here, the corner of the jaw. We saw how pronounced it is. Right? You see this scoop in here. That's where the masseter goes here, and then attaches under here like this, right? So I'm gonna try to create this little bit of a widen here at the corner of the jaw like this, and then here I'm gonna end up with this little bumps in here at the chin that define the chin. So this is two tubercles here, right? This, right? So repeat on the other side. Like this, right? So now the nasal bone, it's the nasal bone is kind of short, right? And here at the nasium, there's a little bit of a suture like this, right? That's where it begins. And then it's divided in two segments like this, right here. Let me see if it's visible. Yeah, see that? The suture here, right? And here's very narrow here, very, very thin here, right? Like this. And so now we have this margin here of the nasal opening can be quite irregular. I don't want to make it too irregular like this, right? Just a little bit of movement, right? This is a nasal spine. That's a here like this nasal spine, right? That's where the septum is, and the vomer. That's the vomer. And the turbinates. I'm not gonna block in the turbinates, right? The turbinates are these things in here. These blades in here, right? Like this, right? Covered with the mucosa, and then they humidify, warm up the air as it comes into the nose. It goes to the lungs, and somehow they prepare the air for the lungs, right? So the lungs don't get air that is too cold or too dry or whatnot. So here now we're gonna have this change of angle here. I'm gonna start from this side here again, right? Up. All of this, right? This is the frontal bone here like this, right? Comes in. We don't see here the coronoid process because it's under here. See, that goes up here, the coronoid process. Like this is the ramus of the mandible. This is a coronoid process. That's the tendon of the temporalis. Goes here like this, right? That's the joint. So we don't see the coronoid process up here like this, right? But I do see here this division, right? This kind of a blade, right? The peak here of the ramus here like this, right? See the inside and the outside. So I'm gonna draw this sort of sharp edge here. And of course, I'm going to see also the inside of the ramus, here like this, right? And I can also darken this a little bit, see that? Like this. So, temporal ridge, right? The frontal bone, and then the zygomatic. I'm not going to draw a straight line here that shows the division that I have here. See this 1 and 2. But I want to maybe have, with a few structural lines, create some sort of turning of the form like this. So these lines here will follow the form of the side plane like this. And here is going to be where they turn, right? So like this, right? So all of this, let's say, is the side plane like this, right? And here I can also block in structural lines, right? That kind of describe the the plane, right? But I can also use them to